Good morning, councillors. I'd like to begin today's meeting by acknowledging the traditional custodians on the land on which we are gathered and pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging. I'd also like to welcome you to the Ordinary Council meeting 22nd of June 2022. I declare this meeting open at 10 a.m. I would like to advise meeting attendees this meeting is being webcast and audio recorded. We'll go straight into reflection. Can the gallery please be upstanding if you're able to, and join me in a moment of contemplation. This week, when we handed down our third budget as a council team, we were faced with some tough decisions. Balancing a $1 billion budget with some of the toughest economic times our community has faced in a long time is not without its challenges. We set the wheels in motion last year to deliver on community infrastructure, and it was important not to stray from these plans. As council team, we have spent countless hours working to ensure we delivered for our community. I'm proud of the work that has gone on to this budget to ensure we're not only delivered for our community, but also minimise the impact of rate increases to the hip pocket of our ratepayers. A bottom line increase of 2.49% will add $1.35 a week or $70.30 a year for residential ratepayers on the minimum general rate, which is the lowest rate rise in the region. Monday's budget is a responsible and considered budget that is building for today for a brighter tomorrow. It has a citywide benefits and is focused on making Logan a fantastic place to live, work and raise a family. I want to thank my fellow councillors and all the staff who worked hard to ensure the plans that we put in place now are the foundations to achieve our vision for future generations. Thank you, councillors. I note that Councillor Heremyers requires a leave of absence for today's meeting due to his attendance at the 2022 National General Assembly as Logan City Council's representative to the Australian Local Government Association. Do any councillors have a leave of absence to declare? No, they don't. Is there a mover for the motion as now displayed on the screen behind me? Councillor Hall has moved the motion. Is there a seconder to the motion? Councillor Fraser has seconded the motion. Do any councillors wish to speak to the motion? No councillors wish to speak to the motion. I'll now put the matter to the vote for the floor. All those in favour, please raise your hands. That has been carried unanimously. Therefore, the motion has been carried. Okay, we'll go straight into condolences. I now refer to condolences. Do any councillors have a condolence to raise? I'll start off at Councillor Bradley and work around. Councillor Bradley, Councillor Lane, Councillor Russell, Councillor Karansky, Councillor Raven, Councillor Hall, Councillor Fraser, Councillor Bannon, Councillor Stemp, Councillor Wilcox, Councillor Murphy. Okay, there's none. Okay, we'll now observe a moment of reflection in honour of those who have gone before us in need and in support of those who have left behind. Thank you, councillors. Councillors, we have two congratulation reports to consider. I now refer to item 6.1. Before we open discussions on this item, do any councillors have a conflict of interest to declare? I wouldn't think so, so I'll now go to the lectern. It's no secret that I'm passionate about the environment, with Council's commitment to becoming carbon neutral by the end of 2022. This passion and commitment is something that is shared and championed right through the organisation. Recently, Council was recognised at the Local Government Managed Association Queensland Awards for our work to achieve net zero this year and our commitment to be a next-gen climate change resilient council. Some highlights of the nomination include the development of the Climate Change Resilience Strategy, the successful delivery of a range of Australian first climate resilience and carbon reduction actions, successfully increasing our green canopy across the city over the last 6 years while accommodating one of the highest growth rates in Australia, and establishing and leading the Regional Climate Change Resilience Alliance with 8 of our neighbouring councils. This is a wonderful testament to the work of the Health, Environment and Waste branch and many other branches in Council. I now ask Michael Asnikar and Trevor Knappy to join me on behalf of the team to collect today's awards. Congratulations. Well done. Well done, Trevor. Okay, is there a mover for the report's motion as displayed on the screen? Councillor Raven has moved the motion. Councillor Hall has seconded the motion. Do any councillors wish to speak to the motion? No councillors wish to speak to the motion. I now put it to the floor to vote. All those in favour, please raise your hands. That has been carried unanimously, therefore the motion has been carried. So we'll now go to the second award. I now refer to item 6.2. Before we open discussion, do any councillors have a conflict of interest? No councillors have a conflict of interest. So we'll go into the second speech. Council's Logan Water has been building a reputation for innovation and sustainability for several years. The Logan Water team has added 3 water and engineering industrial awards to its long list of achievements in April and May. These awards are the Innovation Excellence Award at the National Infrastructure Awards for the Cedar Grove Environmental Centre, the Excellence in Water Projects Award at the International Public Works Conference Australia Awards, also for the Cedar Grove Environmental Centre, and the Water Industry Safety Excellence Award at the Australian Water Association's Organisational Excellence Awards for an innovative water valve isolation lock. Cedar Grove Environmental Centre has now won 7 awards. It features Queensland's first wastewater treatment plant to benefit the environment by producing record low nutrient levels in recycled water and offsetting remaining nutrients through catchment restoration. This is a new benchmark for Queensland and most likely Australia. Logan Water's valve isolation lock won a Council Employee Excellence Award earlier this year. The lock is used on buried water valves. It enables physical control of a water network isolation, providing operators with confidence that hazardous stored energy is controlled while repairs and maintenance are undertaken on the water network. I would like to acknowledge these 3 awards, and I commend Logan Water on continuing to strive for excellence. I now call on Mike Basterfield, Mark Thomas, Gus Chabolsky and Marlon Pritchard to join me to accept the awards. Marion Pritchard, sorry. No, it's Marlon. Sorry. There we go. Well done. Congratulations. Well done. Gee, we haven't even got to the other plan that was put down in Loganholme yet, but I'm sure that'll win a few awards later on. There we go. Can we get us all in the photo?
Mr. Mayor, if you take the back.
I'll go behind. Like all tall people, they go.
Yeah. And one more for that. Thanks.
Thank you. Well done. Councillors, there is a mover for the reports motion as displayed on the screen. Councillor Bradley's moved the motion. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Stemps second the motion. Does anyone wish to speak to the motion? No one wants to speak to the motion. I now put the matter to the floor to vote. All those in favour, please raise your hands. That has been carried unanimously. Therefore, the motion has been carried. Thank you, councillors. Okay, councillors, I now open the floor for congratulation requests. Do any councillors have a congratulations they would like to share with us? Councillor Bradley.
Not a formal congratulations, but three thank yous, if I could please pass on. My sincere thank yous. Last week, Council received the 2022 AILA Queensland Award for Excellence in the category of small projects for the shared pathway between Carroll Avenue and Lorinda Crescent. The project was delivered as a design and construct contract during administration by the EDNS branch, and the manager is here in the audience. One of the key outcomes from the Springwood Summit, which was held in 2016, it produces a high quality active transport connection, and despite what happened last term, I managed to convince council to purchase a property in Lorinda Crescent, which enabled that shared pathway to actually occur. I wish to also, the second thank you is to Melissa Cook and Johnny Pong and all the placemaking team for Saturday's Springwood Rummage, which was actually held in that shared pathway. I believe we outshone Bean Lee for the rummage, but I'm sure it will be well received in other areas of the city as well. Springwood High School actually raised $375, which went to their charity of choice, which was Bravehearts. It was well attended, it was a fantastic day, and the feedback was just amazing. People would love to have this event again, and thank you to a number of councillors who came along as well. I'd also like to say a special thank you to our CEO, Darren Scott, who upon appointment to council facilitated a speedy outcome with the state government to refurbish and lease out the Nerida Street pension units. And I have no doubt this process, which was initially protracted, in my opinion, was actually expedited upon your appointment. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bradley. Councillor Lane.
Thanks very much, Mr Mayor. I would like to give a big shout out of congratulations to the Queensland Filipino Society. They put on a magnificent festival for Bunnyhan at the Kingston Butter Factory. It was very well attended, and they do hope to come back again next year. So we stole them from Brisbane, which I'm very grateful for. The Vietnam Veterans Hot Rod Bike and Trike Show was held on the weekend, and a shout out was given to yourself and Councillor Hall for the donation of community benefit funds for a defibrillator and a touchscreen register. It was gratefully received, and they were very appreciative of that. So they put on a great effort on the weekend, and it was quite well attended. Logan City Special School holds a very important part in my heart. They are the kindest, most generous, most comfortable people to be around, and they put on a sports day for their students. It was beautifully run. It goes down to the least able up to the most able, and they make sure that everyone has a special day. Special shout out to QPS for attending. Sergeant Constable Sharon is an amazing representative of the QPS, and she was on hand all day dressed in funny outfits to make the kids laugh. So thanks very much, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Lane. Councillor Russell? Councillor Kerensky?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Two things today. First of all, I'd like to say a deep congratulations to Mr Alfred and Mrs Amy Sheffield, who are Bannockburn residents. They are celebrating their 65th wedding anniversary. So may that be a tremendous anniversary for them, and may there be many more to come. And Mr Mayor, I'd like to just say a thank you, if I may, to Council's Logan Office of Economic Development, who are constantly standing behind the small businesses in Logan. And as we know, small business is the backbone of employment here in our city. This morning, they supported the Chambers of Commerce in hosting a special event out in Logan Village with guest speaker Michael Kaspowitz. And can I just say, he was an awesome speaker. I gained a lot out of that experience, as I'm sure those who were present did today, feeling fully inspired. But really the inspiration in the room is all those business leaders who employ so many Logan locals. So thank you to LOED for their support of our businesses in the city.
Thank you, Councillor Clancy. Councillor Raven?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'd like to offer congratulations to Francine Barker, who is the outgoing principal of Kingston State College. Councillor Lane and I attended her farewell evening yesterday, and the sign of a good leader is the way that people talk about their legacy and the amazing things they've done through their career. She's got a 43-year career in education, which is coming to an end in the next 2 weeks, and she spent the vast majority of that in Logan, starting Springwood State High. Her and 12 other teachers, quote unquote, we ran that joint, from what she said yesterday. She then moved to Woodridge State High and then finally came to Kingston State College, where she's remained for the past 15 years. And just to listen to the students and their parents who come up in tears saying how their parents were taught by Fran, and they were taught by Fran, and all she really wanted to do is give those kids who come often from lower socioeconomic circumstances where there are challenges that they face, she just wanted to give those kids an idea that they could be more than they were told they could ever be. To think big, to dream big, and to become amazing citizens and humans, and she's done exactly that. So the mark that she's left on our city can never be calculated as a dollar value, because she's made thousands of people in Logan better people that contribute to our community. So thank you to her for all that amazing work, and hopefully she'll be able to go to a few more musicals now that her husband's got access to her again, and she'll be able to spend some time with her family and her 7th grandchild, I think we heard yesterday. She's doing very well for herself.
Thank you, Councillor Raven. I concur with your thoughts there. I've been down there many times and presented awards, and I know they're doing a terrific job down there, and it's certainly a second chance for a lot of people. Councillor Hall.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'd like to send congratulations to Regal Waters Bethania, who on the 15th of June celebrated their 25th anniversary. Regal Waters has a very active residents association, and as a councillor I value their feedback, which has helped me to advocate for those residents in that place. The 15th of June was also World Elder Abuse Awareness Day, which serves to remind us that we need to check up on family and friends in aged care every now and then. So if we could please send congratulations to Regal Waters Bethania, that would be good.
That will be done, Councillor Hall. Councillor Fraser, Councillor Bannon, Councillor Stamp, Councillor Wilcox.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. And hopefully I can get through this without coughing this morning. I'd like Katie to pass on my congratulations to everyone that was involved at KBF for Melting Sunsets. I know that she was there because I ran into her and her husband. I know I was there before the gates opened. I was there well after the gates closed, talking to everyone. It was an amazing festival, and we are so lucky to have a festival like this come to Logan. KBF, for me, is like the equivalent of the River Stage. The venue was amazing. I thought the sound was fantastic, and trust me, I've done a few big day outs and I've seen Red Hot Chili Peppers where the sound floated off with the wind. That didn't happen. You sat there, you watched the trains go past. You couldn't hear the trains. You could see them, but you couldn't hear them. It was absolutely amazing, and I made it no absolute secret that I was a huge Pete Murray fan, and I have been for well over 20 years now, since my university days. So to be given the opportunity, pardon the pun, to meet Pete backstage made my birthday. And thank God it was the week before my birthday. And then to be able to close the night after Pete was on stage and be able to talk to everyone that was there was fantastic. It really was. It was probably the highlight of my month, my year, whatever for me. It was awesome. But when I was backstage and I spoke to Nathan, Sol and Carl, who run Jabber Entertainment and brought Melting Sunsets to Logan, I was really excited about the ideas that they were telling me and future festivals that they were bringing. They told me some headline acts that they were even thinking of as well, and I was like, oh my God, I'll be the first one to buy tickets to that one as well. So I was really, really excited. But we want to see more of these festivals here in Logan at that venue, because it truly was amazing. And as a community and a city, I think we really need to get behind them and do some more marketing and sell those tickets to get so many more people there. But please pass my thanks on to all of the staff that were there, to everyone. They made it a fantastic night. I loved it. People were coming up to me and talking to me throughout the whole night, saying how good it was to be back at a festival. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Murphy. No. Okay, thank you, councillors. I now refer to the minutes of the previous ordinary council meeting. I move that the minutes of the ordinary council meeting held on the 25th of May 2022 be confirmed. Is there a seconder to the motion? Councillor Hall seconded the motion. Does anyone wish to speak to the motion? No one wishes to speak. I now open the floor to vote. All those in favour, please raise your hands. That has been carried unanimously. Therefore, the motion has been carried. We have no business arising from the minutes. We go straight into the committee reports. I now refer to the City Planning, Economic Development, Environment Committee meeting held on the 14th of June 2022. Councillor Raven, Chairperson of the City Planning, Economic Development and Environment Committee, you may proceed.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Before we move into discussions, do any councillors have any new conflicts of interest they'd like to declare at this time? There being none, I will now speak to the recommendations. Mr Mayor, it was a good committee meeting because it was a quick committee meeting compared to the many that we've had lately, and I'm sure, I'll just make one comment, and I'm sure you share it with me. I was disappointed to see the electrical vehicle charging station policy have to be pushed back another month, because I really wanted to see them starting to be delivered in our city as soon as possible, keeping in line with our values around being a green city and an innovative city. But hopefully, with a little bit more work, we'll be able to knock out the kinks in that policy and get it back up next month. I yield the floor, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Raven. I agree with you. I thought that report was catered with all the information required to make a decision. Quite shocked, actually, didn't amount to that, but I accept the vote on what occurred. So do any councillors wish to speak on any of the council reports? No? I'll hand it back to you, Councillor Raven.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I now move that 1, the minutes of the City Planning, Economic Development and Environment Committee meeting held on the 14th of June 2022 be confirmed, and that 2, the recommendations of the City Planning, Economic Development and Environment Committee meeting held on the 14th of June be adopted.
Thank you, Councillor Raven. Councillor Raven has moved the motion. Do I have a seconder to the motion? Councillor Russell has seconded the motion. I now ask, does anyone wish to speak to the motion? No one wishes to speak to the motion. I now put the matter to the floor to vote. All those in favour, please raise your hands. That has been carried unanimously. Therefore, the motion has been carried. Does any councillors wish to lodge a no vote against any of these council resolutions? Councillor Raven.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'd just like to note that I voted against item 4.2, which is the deferral of the electrical vehicle charging stations policy. I wanted to see it come into action as soon as possible.
Thank you, Councillor Raven. Councillor Murphy.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I would like to also acknowledge that I voted against 4.2. I wanted the report to come forward early. Thank you.
Okay. Any other councillors? No? Okay. Thank you, councillors. We'll keep moving on. We'll now go to City Infrastructure. I now refer to the City Infrastructure Committee meeting held on the 14th of June 2022. Councillor Lane, Chairperson of City Infrastructure Committee, you may proceed.
Thanks very much, Mr Mayor. Ours was a really quick meeting. I don't know that I have to call for new conflicts of interest because we didn't have any reports. It was a general business items only meeting. So that's all I have.
Thank you, Councillor Lane. Any other councillors wish to speak? No other councillors wish to speak. Councillor Lane.
Thanks very much, Mr Mayor. I now move that the minutes of the City Infrastructure Committee meeting held on 14 June be confirmed and that recommendations of the City Infrastructure Committee meeting held on 14 June be adopted.
Thank you, Councillor Lane. Councillor Lane has moved the motion. Do I have a seconder to the motion? Councillor Fraser has seconded the motion. Anyone wish to speak to the motion? No one wishes to speak to the motion. I now put the matter to the floor. To vote, all those in favour, please raise your hands. That has been carried unanimously. Anyone wish to record? No, I don't need to do that on this occasion. Okay, councillors, we'll now move to the next committee. City Lifestyle Committee. I now refer to the City Lifestyle Committee meeting held on the 15th of June 2022. Councillor Karansky, Chairperson of the City Lifestyle Committee, you may proceed.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Before we move into discussions, do any councillors have any new conflicts of interest they wish to declare? There being none, I'll now speak to the recommendations. At the City Lifestyle Committee last week, councillors were presented with a report prepared in response to an e-petition regarding disabled toilets at Middle Green. The petition was tabled at the Ordinary Council meeting held on the 8th of December in 2021. Middle Green refers to the facility operated by Middle Green Sports, located at the Greenbank Recreational Reserve. Councillors are looking forward to hearing further developments as favourable outcomes are further investigated by officers in the club, with, of course, the support of the area councillor, Councillor Wilcox, and seeking further funding opportunities. And I look forward to an update to councillors in due course. Councillors moved into confidential discussions and were provided with an overview of the Active People Funding Program, which is co-funded by Council and the Brisbane Bears Fitzroy Football Club. Discussion regarding a further proposal and consideration regarding future funding of a council-only funded Active People program was also had. Not to be confused with a Purple People Eater program. Anyway, in general business, councillors were provided with an update on the tender process of the Buzz at Yarrabilba. The design of the community facility allows for the community to connect with one another and provide learning and employment pathways through training and development. The facility is located by between the two secondary schools, and as such a dedicated youth space will be an important part of the space. The tender is now open and will remain so until mid-July. I'm really excited to find out what the outcome of that will be. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Karansky. Any other councillors wish to speak on any of the items in the report? No? I'll hand it back to you, Councillor Karansky.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I now move that the minutes of the City Lifestyle Committee meeting held on the 15th of June be confirmed and that the recommendations of the City Lifestyle Committee meeting held on the 15th of June be adopted.
Thank you. Councillor Karansky has moved the motion. Councillor Hall has seconded the motion. Anyone who wishes to speak to the motion? No. I'll now put the matter to the vote. All those in favour, please raise your hand. That has been carried unanimously. Therefore, the motion has been carried. Do any councillors wish to lodge their name against any of the items in the report? Councillor Bradley?
May I have my name against 4.2? Thank you.
Okay, that will be done. Any other councillors? No? Okay, thanks, councillors. I now refer to the City Governance Committee meeting held on the 15th of June 2022. Councillor Wilcox, Chairperson of the City Governance Committee, you may proceed.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Before we move into discussions, do any councillors have any new conflicts of interest to declare on any items? No? There being none, I will now speak to the recommendations. Well, what an eventful budget speech on Monday. I'm not sure how many other chairs could say they choked on their speeches mid-delivery, but you can't pick when you're going to be unwell, and after a marathon 2.5-hour committee, and then a hell of a lot of budget prep, and not being sick for pretty much 2 years, everything's finally caught up with me and just smacked me down. But to say that I'm not disappointed in not being able to deliver such an important speech is a bit of an understatement. However, Councillor Murphy did a tremendous job on delivering the remainder of the speech for me. So thank you again. She hadn't even seen the speech beforehand. I was wondering whether or not I should tell her just in case. But see, look at that. I'm still not even fully with it today. But she did a tremendous job, so thank you.
This is Council's second billion-dollar budget, $1,014 million to be exact. We are investing across the city we have a focus on being active, green, safe, smart and growing. This budget is delivering across the city and there are so many good projects that we will be delivering. We're investing $38 million over the next 5 years in grassroots sports. We have introduced a new program to recycle mattresses and polystyrene so it doesn't end up in our landfill. The Catapult program, which I love, will continue for another 2 years in our schools. And we're expanding our safety camera network to make it even bigger and better. And Council is making a $241 million investment in roads and drainage infrastructure across the city. And these are just a few of the projects that we announced on Monday's budget. Despite costs increasing and Brisbane CPI at 6%, and we're all feeling the costs of living pressures, including council. And yes, even myself at home as a mum of 2 and running a household, I feel the cost of living pressures. But despite this, we are delivering this year's budget and we're keeping the cost of living pressures in mind. But I'm proud that we delivered these figures. We're still having a 5% discount for prompt payments. There are no increases in council components of water and sewerage charges, and we're continuing to support pensioners with a 4.29 rate remission. A bottom line increase of 2.49%, or around $1.35, or as the Mayor said, about just over $70 a year to the general rate. This is less than half the CPI. We have made important decisions now for the City of Logan's future. This budget will enhance our city for decades to come, and I'm proud to say that I live in Logan and I work with Logan City Council because we have delivered the lowest rate rise so far in South East Queensland. That's nothing to be sneezed at. It's such an accomplishment, and I'm proud to say that we're here and we worked as a team. We're building on today for a brighter tomorrow for the City of Logan, and I'm so proud of each and every one of us and all of the staff. A huge thanks once again for all of the behind the scenes that they have done. So thank you once again, and I'm proud to have delivered this budget. Thank you.
Councillor Wilcox, I was just looking at the report. I didn't notice the budget was in the committee report. What's that? But I'll never stop enthusiasm, and I know that you had a coughing fit during the budget, so I allowed it because I knew you were very frustrated at the fact that you didn't get your speech out. But you have to stick to the script, okay? So please, next time, budget in budget time, council reports, full council. Okay. Any other councillors wish to speak to any of the items in the council report? Councillor Hall.
Sorry, I just didn't know there was a script. I haven't got one.
Okay. I'll hand it back to you, Councillor Wilcox.
Thank you. I'm so sorry. See, I'm still so not with it, even at this time. I'm still so flippin' funny in the head. But anyway, that's okay. Thank you, Mr Mayor. I will now move that the minutes of the City Governance Committee meeting held on the 15th of June 2020 be confirmed. None of you guys picked me up, so, that the recommendations of the City Governance Committee meeting held on the 15th of June 2022 be adopted, and it will be my chuckle moment. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Wilcox. Councillor Wilcox has moved the motion up on the board. Do I have a seconder for the motion? Councillor Murphy has seconded the motion. Does anyone wish to speak to the motion? No one wishes to speak to the motion. Now I put the matter to the floor to vote. All those in favour, please raise your hands. That has been carried unanimously, therefore the motion has been carried. Do any councillors wish to record their name against any of the reports in that committee? No? Good, that's good. We'll keep moving on. Councillors, we have no council reports to consider. We have no late reports to consider. Do any councillors have a petition to present? No? Okay, consideration of notified motions. We have no notified motions to consider. I'll now go to general business. Now we are starting at Division 12 with Councillor Murphy. Councillor Murphy. Councillor Bradley, Councillor Lane. Councillor Lane.
Thanks very much, Mr Mayor. Just a reminder that NAIDOC Day is coming up on July the 5th. The Logan Elders, Gunyametta and a host of other First Nations community groups have actually pulled together what is going to be a remarkable program at the Kingston Butter Factory. So I would encourage anyone listening or to come along, or for councillors to share that invitation out to their community. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Lane. Councillor Russell. Councillor Karansky.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I have two items today, but the first one is on a sobering note. Mr Mayor, I beg your pardon, Mr Mayor, councillors, I'd like to thank you for your support in bringing a report back to council recently on heavy vehicle usage and road safety on Plunkett Road. And as you know, Plunkett Road is one of two connector roads in the region, and the second one, which I have also spoken to previously in this venue, is Vivas Road at Wolfdean. They're connected via Charden Bridge Road. Mr Mayor, on Monday morning, as we're about to announce the budget, I was made aware of yet another truck rollover, this time on the corner of Vivas and Charden Bridge Road. It was a large quarry truck with a dog. Division 4 funding has been allocated to a safety review for both Plunkett and Vivas Road, and the reviews are now complete, pending a speed review of Vivas Road. And I will, of course, write to residents in due course once the review is complete. Residents have emailed me, called me and taken to Facebook once again, and no doubt they have you also, Mr Mayor. They're calling on safety concerns for Vivas and Plunkett Road to be made a priority for this council. One resident said, "Reducing the speed and increasing signage falls short of the infrastructure upgrades that are really needed on these two main connector roads. Road widening, guardrails and reducing heavy vehicle usage is really what's needed. How do we prioritise this so no more lives are lost in our beautiful area? Something really needs to be done to improve road safety on these two roads, and it really is a big issue." Mr Mayor, I recently had the opportunity to take our CEO on a divisional tour of the region and highlighting our residents' concerns. I too am at my wit's end with coming to council to request support for improved safety on these roads. There's a limit to what I can achieve as an area councillor on my own. On behalf of Division 4 residents, I'm once again calling upon you to reinvestigate limiting heavy vehicle usage on Vivas and Plunkett roads. I have requested that a motion be put up on the board in front of councillors, which I'm happy to read, that a report be prepared to a future City Infrastructure Committee meeting regarding the safety of Plunkett Road, Charden Bridge Road and Vivas Road, specifically detailing the following: what measures council are undertaking to improve the safety of these roads, and directly addressing the heavy vehicle concerns raised consistently by residents on these roads. In addition, Mr Mayor, residents are asking for increased enforcement regarding speeding along these roads, and whilst I acknowledge speeding is a policing issue and not a Logan City Council issue, I would welcome a letter from you to the State Member for Logan, Mr Linus Power, regarding policing of speed limits and dangerous driving along Plunkett and Vivas Road. I'd now like to move my motion.
Okay, just want to clarify one thing. So what's on the board is the entire recommendation?
Yes.
And the other things you're just asking?
I'm asking if you'll please write to State Member.
All right. So, councillors, as you can see, there's a recommendation on the board. Councillor Karansky has moved. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Bradley is seconder. All those in favour, please raise your hand. That is carried unanimously. Therefore, the motion has been carried. Councillor Karansky, you got any other business?
Thank you, and thank you for your indulgence, Mr Mayor. I actually do have some good news, however, and I will speak to the budget, albeit briefly, as a GB item, and that's regarding the rail trail. This council actually has been a supporter of doing investigative studies along the Bethania to Beaudesert rail trail line, and most recently we've looked at Bethania to Logan Village. And as part of council's budget, we have managed to allocate some funding, but I was hugely excited to receive a phone call yesterday for the State Member for Logan, Mr Linus Power, who wanted to advise me personally that the state has also met its obligation of providing 50% funding for the rail trail. So I'm looking forward to advancing this project. But what I did want to say was to our Bethania and Waterford Palm Lake communities, I promised to keep you informed every step of the way, and will continue to uphold that promise. And I look forward to community consultation now really beginning in earnest, and I can't wait to see where the journey takes us. Woo woo.
You're very lucky, Councillor Kransky. You've got Linus Power representing your area, and he's doing a great job. And getting that money is a great positive. Councillor Raven, Councillor Hall, Councillor Fraser, Councillor Bannon, Councillor Stamp, Councillor Wilcox.
Sorry, I feel like I'm monopolising it today. Thank you for your indulgence before, because I didn't want to talk about the budget in this bit because this is a really important GB for me. So thank you very much for your indulgence. As the Chair of Governance for the past 18 months, I have certainly learnt a lot about how Council does its day-to-day business and delivers billion-dollar budgets. I've been privileged to deliver Council's first and now second billion-dollar budget, and have worked with an amazing team behind the scenes. I'd like to thank my Deputy Chair, Councillor Karen Murphy, Director of Organisational Services, Mr Robert Strachan, and Finance Manager Caroline Bugg for their assistance, wisdom and countless briefings, meetings, questions, and just generally keeping me up to date with everything. It isn't easy to chair committee meetings, especially when the governance ones seem to have the bulk of discussion and they can go for a marathon 2.5 hours, if not more. However, after recently being elected into the Deputy Mayor role, I always said that I wouldn't do both. So now is the appropriate time for me to step away from my Chair of Governance role and for me to focus on being Deputy Mayor and to continue in my role as Councillor representing Division 11. Now is the time for me to provide capacity building with a new chair. So today I officially tender my resignation as Chair of Governance and as my committee member position on the Procurement and Appropriations Special Committee. In the meantime, for July's committee, we will be held in good hands with Councillor Murphy, stepping into the role as Acting Chair of Governance before it does go to the vote next ordinary council. She's been my right hand throughout my term as Chair, and I wish her well in the next month in her role and hopefully in the future. And I thank everyone for their kind support in everything that I have done so far. So thank you very much, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Lane, I'm going to ask a question. Your resignation is effectively immediately or at the next full council meeting?
Yes, and it's Councillor Wilcox too,
okay.
not Councillor Lane.
So what we will do, what we will do is we will take that on notice. Obviously, the officers will have to prepare a report for the next round, and so you will have to provide that in writing to the CEO, and we'll progress this. Okay, well done. Thank you. Councillor, you have got nothing? Oh, that's right. Yep. All right. So, councillors, we're finished. So that concludes our agenda for today's meeting. Before I declare the meeting finished, I just want to talk about one thing, so very transparent. I'm a very superstitious mayor, very superstitious about things, have been all my life, and I have a little concern about a gentleman that's always staring me in the back behind me here, and I just want to ask the CEO whether or not you could find out whether we have a council decision that painting behind me stays where it is, because I don't particularly enjoy his company, and I'm pretty sure that his history, past history, certainly resonates particularly in the Indigenous population, and I know that he was an absolute tyrant from history, and I don't particularly like him being there, and if we could remove him that would be great, but I'm very consistent with the transparency of it, so I'm letting the public know, and I'm also wanting to know whether or not there's a standing order that he must remain in this room. So I'll put that to you, Mr CEO. On that, I'll conclude the meeting at 10:43 a.m. Thank you, councillors.